Boom, guys, you're probably wondering exactly the same question that I am. Moon Platoon, how does the short squeeze buyback work? Well, let's try and cover it with me, Andrew Mo Money, and Professor Meatball together with us. Now, where's Professor Meatball? Let's wait until he comes here. And while we wait, the only thing that I ask of you while we go through this video from the user, the ceiling is _ the roof. Give them a big upvote there, is to smash that like button because it does help this video go to more apes out there. So without further ado, let's cover how the short squeeze buyback works. Prepare yourself. They've seen a lot of discussion happening over how all of these hedgies are going to be able to buy back all the shares they have shorted. So let's break this down to simple terms if we can. Explain like I'm ape. Now that's what I like to hear. Please interject any criticism you might have of this explanation. Do check out the description down below where you will be able to give them their criticism or drop them directly in the comment section in this video. So first, it is important to realize that once the hedge funds are margin called, they are no longer in control of the situation. All buyback is handed over to the clearing houses that handle balancing the books to cover all their losses. We've explained this before as like the scene in the evil person has in Robot Army, and then the Robot Army turns their guns and says it is now time for a margin call and turns them over to point at the bad guy instead. Right? This is essentially how the high frequency trading algorithms are going to be turned up against the hedge funds in the event of a margin call. It's just going to be business, baby, and nothing personnel. Seriously, this is the truth, Ruth. If you guys are wondering, look in the description for the second channel. So let's break down as a formula, right? I'm not going to assume any SI percent or use real numbers. So we are going to help you do math without true math, without scaring you away. So the hedge funds that are short will have to buy back all the shorted stocks they have done until the correct amount of shares in the circulation are actually on the market. The amount of shares that are currently in circulation held by institutions, insiders, and retail, and all other entities, along with shorted stocks, including the naked shorted shares, subtracted by B, the number of shares that should be in existence, equals C, the number of shares that will have to be bought back to rectify the number to what it should be. Time for handy dandy Mr. Whiteboard to explain the full situation here. You have a blue marker? Where's that blue marker? So what Mr. Whiteboard will be able to show us is a better understanding of what we just saw. We have A minus B equals C, which is the total number of shares held by both institutions, insiders, and retailers, all of the shares possible, minus the number of shares that are that should be in existence. Right. So this is the number of shares that is actually issued by the company. So this includes all of the naked shorts. Equals the number of shares that need to be bought back to rectify the number to what it should be. So right now we have this pie chart. God forbid, I'm sorry, we do have to use this pie chart here, and we have a portion of C, the pie chart, that is actually just B. So B is the tiny portion that is issued shares, right? So this is the part of the pie that is actually shares that are supposed to be in existence. We know that there is a large proportion, over 100%, that's why B is so much smaller in proportion to the rest of the pie chart, that is actually a, hold on, this is A. So this is C, all of the shares that shouldn't be in existence, so the naked shares. This is going to be the share buyback right here. The hedge funds will have to purchase on an amount of C shares to clear their debt, and their clearinghouse will have to do that for them. They're not allowed to do anything crafty and turn one purchase share into purchasing 10. They have to purchase 1-to-1 what they owe, and that's the share buyback itself. That is the process of the margin squeeze. A key to business is that at every buyer, there needs to be a seller. They need to buy back what is on the market for sale. If there are none, as if everyone is hodling, then they're going to have to continue raising the price until there are some put up, right? Basically, you go down the street and say, anybody want to anybody want to sell their GME? Everyone just closes their door. Okay, I'm offering it for, whatever market price is, 169, then 200, then 250, then 300. If everyone continues to hold tight past the infinite squeeze, right? which is not likely. Think about human behavior. But at the very least, humans all have different price points. And right now, if we all collectively raise our price points higher and try to sell after the top of the peak, then we will all be wealthier for that. Imagine if everybody turns away and says, I'm waiting for the top of the peak, right? I'm waiting until it comes back down. Then only the most greedy people are going to be able to benefit. That's okay, right? The people that end up selling at like $1,000, they'll hurt the squeeze. But then when it goes to $10,000, those weren't the most greedy people. The most greedy people were the people that are willing to have the highest number of their amount, but still trying to sell on the way up, right? And then likely the most greedy people, the ones that have like $1 billion, $1 trillion as their price tags, are never going to get there. So that is the current mental gymnastics that we have to try and leap through. Sayan Islam says, when do you think they have to buy back all the shares? I know you don't like giving dates, but a rough estimate. So we do have 801, which is the process of forcibly shutting down and creating this margin call that is giving us the opportunity. And I'm talking about NSCC 801, that is supposed to give us the opportunity to see this margin call go into fruition, even if they still have money. It's just that they're being too risky. So in that case, this is that's the rub right there. We are waiting for the DTC to step in as the one major catalyst for us, because we can wait forever. But what we also could do is wait for a member of a cartel of money makers, money holders, right? The DTC to come in and say, I'm tired of all these risky uncles in my family. Get out. The Godfather does not bless you anymore, and all the other tropes that we are expecting from this essentially group of rich people that all of their activities border on the criminal. Good morning, says Seb and the real gig. Thank you guys. Let's get to 5K likes and 100K subs. Thank you, real gig. I'm going to cover those supers in just a second. So a key to business is that for every buyer, there needs to be a seller. Remember that, guys. You are going to be a seller in the market where nobody is selling on the way up. That's the buy and hold strategy. And now that we're talking about strategies, we're talking about them in terms of education, right? Where did my disclaimer go? I am not a financial advisor. Let me bring this over from my large face. And now, there we go. Perfect. Let's just put that there. Okay. If retail investors, I'm not going to assume the amount of the retail currently owns, do own more than the float and collectively choose not to sell to the hedge funds, does this mean that retail sets the price? We've often talked about retail owning more than the float exists, right? So we have A and B and C. B is the number of shares that should exist, right? And so likely what is happening here is that a portion of B is owned by institutions. So we are making this delineation here. Actually, I wish I had a different color marker. So I'm going to make this like that pattern here. We have B, which is the number of shares that should exist, and we have the ownership of the retail here. So in essence, the float is a small piece of the shares that should exist. The rest of these shares are all naked. And with Austin Tobit, he thinks that could be in the trillions. Right now, we are going to put this board down and not speculate about how many shares are actually failed to deliver and how many shares are actually naked. For now, all we need to know is there are shares that do not have anybody's permission to be borrowed because they are borrowed from thin air. And as of right now, we are trying to use this share buyback to be able to cause them to have to buy those shares. Okay, let's see. So the question is currently, does this mean that retail sets the price? Well, no, anyone saying that they have to buy back all the shares is not accurate. They have to purchase the amount of shares necessary to get back to the original amount. And that's the kicker there. The more shares held and not sold during this going up will make the price increase with less stops along the way. These are the levels of resistance that we're expecting to hit. We also have to account for the fact that the amount of shares held now will not be the same as during the mother of all short squeezes. People will be jumping on board as this is going up, including institutions. If they choose to sell their shares to get immediate attendees, this will count toward the balance of shares owed by the evil hedge funds. So does this mean that some gorilla will be bag holders? No, rest assured, there are 3 steps that we need to make sure that you understand here. You will have an opportunity to get your 10Ds apes. Some key things to remember about this are as follows. 1, their continuous repurchasing of the stock will make this price go up continuously as well. The upward pressure on this thing will cause jumps in prices of which the stock market has never seen. Coerced purchasing. Coerced buying is the most important piece of the pie because we have not seen it yet in history. This amount, sheer volume of coerced buying. Number 2, if the SI is anywhere close to that of the DD mentioning, we're not going to put any number on right now, then this is going to take a long time to unravel. This will be buying back shares multiple times over, recursive covering of these shares. This is not going to reconcile over a matter of hours. You will need time to get to the moon that you choose. Full disclosure, they're putting an edit here to clear up any misunderstandings about the price drop. When the purchasing is done and they finally balance their books, and they still are going to take a while to come back down to earth. The price of the stock will hover for quite a while and will not plummet from, let's say, 10 million to 200 in seconds. Do not be afraid that you won't win this. You will get 10Ds as long as there is buying pressure, and you will be able to sell. Remember, though, that to sell your stock, your broker needs to have a buyer at a certain price. A seller always needs a buyer, as pointed out. So if there are no buyers, you might have to wait on option 4. What is that? Well, even with the purchase price currently, you will get 10Ds. This announcement of what they're going to do at annual shareholders meeting is excellent news. Ryan Cohen is going to be the chair of the board of directors now. That is the CEO's boss. So it will be unstoppable, especially with the support of newly minted millionaire gorillas, gorillionaires, if you will. The fact that they are paying top level people by profit, the company makes them give incentive and motivation to kick this into overdrive. We covered that this morning's live stream as well. So, dear apes, keep hodling, keep the faith, prepare for the mother of all short squeezes that is going to take place, prepare an exit plan, prepare for life-changing money, prepare and prepare. So I hope that made enough sense to you about the proportions of what we're trying to achieve, right? And how exactly mechanically is that share buyback going to happen? All shorts must cover. And we are looking at the mother of all short squeezes coming in soon with our DTC catalyst, of which OCC 801 was just passed earlier this week. But enough about that. Please leave some comments down below if you have any questions about exactly what we covered earlier on this this informative video. Make sure to give that source some love. And finally, also, just as a small reminder, make sure that you understand that you are great. Thank you for being you. I want to also thank the people that make this show possible by pressing the join button down below next to the subscribe button, or heading over to Patreon and supporting me there. And we will see you in the morning. Peace.